Hey, everybody. How is everyone doing today? Um, I thought we would go live a little bit early and talk about what happened yesterday, just as a recap, um, because I think today is going to be a bombshell of a day since they are literally about to wrap up. Let's see who we have on the best live chat in the planet. We've got Bill Hanson clocking in. Hello, Bill. Miss, I love this name. Miss Love, disappointed father, Matt Rose, Debbie Ellis. Good morning, Debbie. Agnes. Good morning, Agnes. Um, and let's see. And that's all I see so far. And thank you, everybody else that's watching and replay crew. We love our replay crew. So I thought we could just do a quick recap before court gets started here in just a little bit. Here we go. Getting this off of Seti Nash's channel. Shout out to Seti Nash. I think he's got a good thing going on over there. Let's watch this replay from yesterday.
And we are moving for a directed verdict on each of the counts against Mr. Kendrick, counts 1, 2, 50, and 57 through 63. And I'll go through each of those in order. Right. We're also moving for a directed verdict as to those overt acts that are before the 5-year date, before May 10th of 2017 in the indictment. Based on where we're looking at the jury instructions and the law, my understanding is that the jury is going to have to find at least one overt act that occurred after May 10th of 2017. Right. So I believe it would just be extra work for the jury and potential confusion if they were to sit there and go through each of the overt acts before May 10th, 2017. I understand that the state is allowed to put those into the indictment for a number of reasons. I understand that they like them in, or they want them in there in order to be able to quote unquote tell the whole story of the alleged racketeering activity. But since none of those overt acts can be used to support the any racketeering conviction, I don't believe that those overt acts prior to May 10th, 2017 should be before the jury for a decision. As to just turning to the details of the different counts, as to count 1, Your Honor, the RICO count, in that situation, in that count, I don't believe the state has shown evidence upon which a rational trier of fact could find an overarching conspiracy seeking to achieve an overall common goal as required by the law. The state has shown a number, quite a few, I would agree, a number of individual acts they've presented. They have presented a number of crimes and alleged crimes committed by co-conspirators. But I do not believe that they have presented to this jury any form of an overarching conspiracy that would tie those acts together. The second part, I don't believe that the state has presented to the jury an enterprise that would be required, at least a criminal enterprise. I do appreciate that perhaps they don't have to show that the enterprise was criminal in nature. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. I don't want to take up the court's time. I have some things in my written motion. Third, a pattern of racketeering activity is required for the RICO. This pattern, as you know, requires two predicate acts. They have to be within 4 years of each other. And the key that I want to focus on is that these acts have to be interrelated. And it's the interrelated portion of the statute that the state has not shown for the jury, and that a rational trier of fact could not find. Again, after watching this trial for a year, it's clear that the state has put on evidence of various crimes and alleged crimes. They've put on witnesses. They've had testimony from individuals that are alleged members of this conspiracy that have taken the stand and admitted to committing particular crimes. But they haven't shown at all that these crimes are interrelated. In fact, when the witnesses have taken the stand and they've been questioned, in response to questioning, they stated, I would say universally, I mean, it's been a year, so I don't know that I have everything in my head, but I believe they stated universally that they committed these crimes for themselves. If they sold drugs at a gas station, it was to get money for themselves. If they robbed somebody, it was to get money for themselves. There's been no demonstration that this was interrelated at all. There's been no demonstration, for example, of money flowing up and down the organization.
And see, that's the important thing, is that if they robbed somebody and it was for themselves, or if they shot somebody, it was not for a gang. It was to rob money or to rob somebody so they could feed their family, or they could, it wasn't for the good. It wasn't for the goodness of the gang. It was the goodness of their family or the goodness of them. It's not RICO. It's just not. It's making a great point here.
And they could have attempted to show that. They could have subpoenaed financial records. They didn't do any of that. It's as if the state believes if they just show a tremendous number, and I guess we have close to 200 acts, if they just show a tremendous number of different acts, that's sufficient. And it simply is not sufficient. They can try to argue interrelatedness, and I am sure that they will, but they haven't demonstrated that for the jury, such that a rational trier of fact could find the interrelatedness that's required for those predicate acts. Regarding count 2, the murder of Donovan Thomas, again, it's been a year. I could be leaving things out, but from when I've looked over the evidence that's been presented.
Let's just be for real here. We know who killed Donovan Thomas. We do.
In this court, what I've seen them present, the state present, is Mr. Kendrick at a Texaco station inside of a Pontiac. And inside of the Texaco station, this Texaco station is a block from the location of the murder of Mr. Thomas. And they show Mr. Kendrick in and out of the Pontiac. They show him in a conversation with someone that may be in an Infiniti. But when Mr. Kendrick leaves a gas station, he's in a Pontiac. There's been no testimony at all, nothing, no video, no evidence that Mr. Kendrick somehow moves from the Pontiac into the Infiniti. And the Infiniti is what is alleged to have done the drive-by shooting of Donovan Thomas. There's been testimony from the state's own witnesses. I believe they presented an Infiniti identification expert that was able to identify the car that goes by as an Infiniti. It is not a Pontiac. Mr. Kendrick is not in anything other than a Pontiac. What else is the state presented? They have interviews that various individuals gave with law enforcement. I believe they have interviews that they presented in the form of video of Kenneth Copeland on June the 10th, 2015, speaking with law enforcement. They have interviewed, they have the plea agreement from Mr. Sledge. And by the way, that plea agreement from Mr. Sledge does not identify Mr. Kendrick specifically. And they also have Mr. Zachary's interview with Detective Thorpe. But in the case with each of those witnesses, when they've gotten on the stand, and the Sledge one is less important, I'm not going to focus on that. But Mr. Copeland, and Your Honor saw this, repeatedly told the jury that he lied to the police. He said anything he needed to say to avoid putting on that blue jumpsuit that Mr. Sharp so desperately wants to bring into the court and show to the jury. He would finesse the police. He would tell the police what they wanted to hear. He would sprinkle grains of truth into his stories to lend them credibility with the police officers. But when he took the stand, he completely renounced everything that he said previously. Mr. Sledge, as you well know, also renounced much of what was in his plea agreement, although again, that plea agreement does not focus or even, I believe, mention Mr. Kendrick. And then again, Mr. Zachary renounces what he says on the stand. So I think that a rational trier of fact could not find that Mr. Kendrick had any involvement in the murder of Donovan Thomas.
Yeah, pretty much. So basically, what's supposed to happen is 2 or more acts is supposed to be implemented in the RICO, and that basically makes sure that you're done. Get you the F on out of here. And that's what he was trying to get to, and ultimately, he made his point on the Young Thug house stuff and everything like that, because basically, we couldn't figure out what the hell, just because you had a photo of you being there a day prior, and then you probably walking up, because they never say really that they found him in the house the day that they came. They said the photo was from the day before. And then next thing you know, hey, he shows up, but he's not in the house, so he runs. Bro, listen, I run when I see the police all the time. I ain't did a crime in ever. I've never committed a crime in my life, but I still run when I see the police. So it is what it is on that one. So Paige came out and she said this.
Prior of fact. And the standard, as you all know, for a motion for directed verdict is not the beyond a reasonable doubt standard, that what the jury is going to be determining the facts on when the case is given to them. The standard at the stage of motion for directed verdict is that all of the evidence is to be viewed in the light that is most favorable to the prosecution, and doing it in that way, looking at it in that way, is there any evidence from which a rational trier of fact could find the essential elements of the crimes they're charged. So with regard to the motion for directed verdict on counts 1, 2, trying to do these in order. Now, let me just do it this way. I am denying the motion for directed verdict on all counts except I'm granting a motion for directed verdict as to count 59, count 60, and count 62. I do not believe that the elements of that, even viewing in the light most favorable to the prosecution, there's evidence upon which a rational trier of fact could find the essential elements of possession of those particular items. Let me say that with regard to counts 2 and 49, again, is not a beyond a reasonable doubt standard.
Now, it would have been even bigger if he would have got acquitted of the murder of Donovan Thomas, but all it is hearsay. Like, it's no actual evidence and all of that crap. And
So yeah, there was that. So not the news exactly that they wanted to get. So they're going to jury trial, which according to Judge Page, should be next week, which is very surprising. It's amazing once they got rid of the big fish, how quickly things moved, huh? Because that's who they were after anyway. Let's just be honest, right? That's who they wanted. They wanted the big fish. Good morning, Felicia. Good morning, Davey. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, Texas T. Jason, Wendell, Chicky, Annie H, Kristen, D Johnson. Everybody clocking in to the best live chat on the planet. Good morning. But yeah, it's amazing once they got rid of those two, how quick everything is moving along now. But yeah, I think those two are the ones they really wanted in the first place. But yeah, that's my opinion. It was them that called them the big fish, not me. I'm just repeating. It was another little short video I wanted to show you guys. It's crazy, isn't it? Let's see if I can find that video. So I don't know if you guys have been following the Lincoln rally situation. I wanted to show y'all a quick clip from that yesterday. This is a sad situation, but I'm glad that they threw him in the slammer. That's a good thing. Here, just a real quick clip of that.
Oftentimes, people use the term closure at an event like this, and I acknowledge that there's no such thing as closure. There will not be closure. This is just another stage or event in this tragedy, and that's the way I view that. People mean well by saying that, but it's. I've heard it explained that when you have something like this that impacts one or many, you even have to make a conscious effort to breathe at sometimes. And that just comes on you at any particular, if you just don't know what's going to bring it on you. And you realize that you do make it through the day, but you don't know how you did it. But I also, and this goes back to what Carrie Howell was saying, that, as many times as you reflect on the loss, at some point you start smiling about the memories. And I'm hopeful that at some point that takes over to a certain extent. But there's very little, including the sentence of Mr. Ibarra, that's going to help much. And I acknowledge that.
Mm. 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 Someone said, can you explain the change of charge 133? I can't find that. I can't find that. 133 is a stranger charge or tax, but they never approved it. So 131 is a lesser charge they're trying to throw at the last minute instead. Yeah, I can't find charge 133. I'm looking for it though. I found this. Let me see if I can pull this in. I don't know how accurate this is. I'm going to just be honest and say that.
Underscore worthy.
AKA ASIMTH. She just testified in the YSL trial. She was not on the stand long. If you guys remember last week, Mutum said that
This is
him
Dave
and Shell Kill
33,
used to
never mind.
date her. One of the videos that the state tried to admit into evidence and related to YSL business, Shell Kill explained that no, it had nothing to do with YSL whatsoever. It had to do with Miss Antrivia Smith here. He said that he used to date her first.
Never mind. That's day 133. I don't see charge 133. Is this what you're talking about here? The one that Sharp was arguing yesterday. Oh, okay. Let's see if I can look it up. I have the seal up, so I'll go to court as soon as it starts. Can't find anything on it. Let's just find short issue. Short has come so far. He used to be the quiet guy in the back, but he's come a long way. You got to give him that now. Okay, I hear movement in the courtroom, but we will definitely dig into it at break, which I have a feeling there's going to be a bunch of those today. Okay, here's the information. Okay, here it is. All right, let's pull it in.
Nightmare. Okay.
You have to do that.
All right, Sharp, do your thing.
Because the catch-all says any act of aggravated disorder.
I mean,
I agree with Mr. Biden.
okay.
I think I do, actually, with Mr. Biden. I think that, when we're defining, I don't understand the need. I wasn't gonna die on that hill, but I don't understand the need to specifically say
These things
our
equate
criminal
to-
gang activity, and that applies to when we defined it earlier and now. I think we can just, the problem is the definition of criminal gang activity in statute is very long, and then it has the catch-all, and then it becomes,
Yeah.
and then you're making references to different statutes as well. Like certainly I understand the crime of violence, but then there's the catch-all, and then we would have to reference the RICO statute.
Mm-hmm. And that just gets to be a nightmare. And so when we are doing it for the overt acts, what are y'all saying? Or what are y'all saying that y'all agree to?
I think I liked what Mr. Abate said, but I also think it's gonna get cumbersome if we expect them to parse through everything. But, so I would just do it the same way we did it in the first part and just say aggravated, what is it, aggravated battery? Aggravated assault would constitute, if proven, would constitute criminal gang activity.
That goes out first agreement.
Yeah.
And where do you want that?
Well, I think if we cut and paste from the first part defining criminal gang or gang act, okay? And we put everything, we copied it and pasted it here as well for the charges for the overt acts, except when we have that little explanation of criminal gang activity, instead of putting murder and those other, we just put aggravated assault.
Can I make another suggestion?
Mm-hmm.
Your Honor, is your intention to charge on the overt act crimes first or second? Because my thought is, if we were going to charge on the counts first, you can maybe say criminal gang activity as previously defined, and then just put that last paragraph versus restating the entire charge, just saying criminal gang activity also includes this, and this, so that we don't have to say it twice. That may or may not be simpler, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think sorry, I'm interjecting, but I think the issue with that is the overt acts have to be with the RICO charges. Or we say something,
Yeah, I mean,
it could be later, but it has to be clear that these are related to, I mean, because the overt act is mentioned in RICO, and so it either needs to get restructured or we somehow refer back to it, but it seems confusing if the overt acts are listed way after, totally away from all the RICO.
Maybe charges for overt acts and parentheses as alleged in count one.
Or if you're doing the overt acts first, you don't have to repeat it the second time
I
when we're
kind of
talking
went
about the
thinking
charge.
about doing the overt acts first.
I think my ultimate point was, I don't think we need
Yeah.
to repeat it twice. We can,
Right.
whichever time we do it, just refer back to.
All right, the gang counts against Mr. Kendrick and Stillwell are 50, 51, and 57, right? So what I could say is, after we define it, for purposes of counts 50, 51, and 57, murder, blah, blah, blah. Murder, possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony constitute criminal gang activity. And then wherever we're doing it for the overt acts, say, for purposes of the overt acts, whatever they are, constitute criminal gang activity. Would that make sense?
Yes, but we have another problem.
Okay.
One of the overt acts is section D of the criminal gang charges. That would be number 182, unless that is out.
Oh, maybe it's out.
I think that's the leadership. It's out. It's out. Yay.
Is it out? I doubt it. Oh, excellent. Okay. I just mean excellent in that it's one less thing we have to deal with.
We said it too.
All right. Good catch, though, Ms. Persifield. So, thoughts as to whether I do the overt acts in the context of the gang, of the RICO count, or whether I just walk through, you know, here are the definitions, here's how you prove the substantive crimes, the counts in this indictment alleged against these defendants. And then after that, hey, there are also some crimes that are within the overt acts, crimes alleged within the overt acts. Here's how those are defined.
Maybe some sort of transition, like as you see in the indictment, or as you'll see in the indictment, count one, RICO refers to specific overt acts, some of which are alleged crimes, and then I'm providing these definitions in regards to the overt acts list or something like that.
The question was any preference as to whether that's done right after I explain RICO or after I explain all of the substantive count crimes.
No preference.
Yeah, I think I'm right after RICO, Your Honor.
Okay.
It makes sense to just close that gap.
Okay.
But would you include these charges in the
I'd have to.
paperwork, or
Things
just
like-
tack them on at the end as an appendix? And then you could say, look, you know,
No, all of everything I read is going to go out to them.
no, I want it to go out. I'm just wondering if the charges for the overt acts, if you embed it in the middle of the document right after the RICO section, or I think it may be more helpful to help them distinguish these from the acts and the count, is if you say, look in Appendix A,
Right.
and in Appendix A, you'll see how to understand the charges for the overt acts.
It's fine.
Is that okay with you?
Good idea. The state's nodding assent.
Yeah.
Yes, Your
Okay.
Everything we agree on.
Man, look at that. All right. So Ms. Persifield, you noticed something else?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Better now.
We don't have in the overt acts firearm possession, because there's a number of counts that are possession of a firearm by a felon. There's also a couple of counts that are possession of a firearm by a probationer. And then we have the charges against the inmates.
We don't know. The probationer one is the same, is the pattern that you use for possession.
Yes, substitute probation.
So we'll add that, but then there's several possession of a weapon by an inmate, possession of a phone by an inmate.
I'm doing that one right now.
Okay, the conspiracy for possession by a phone by an inmate. And there's, I don't know if it's in or out. but
Up with these machine guns, man. Possession of a machine gun. Why do you need a machine
Is that a
gun?
crime?
Act 180. Is that in or out? It's in, right, okay, so I need something on that.
Well, is that a crime?
Right. I don't know.
We didn't charge it as, we didn't charge the cell phone that he was using.
Okay, all right, but there are some possession of contraband by inmates.
Yeah.
charges, Or acts, alleged acts.
So, isn't, for instance, murder is alleged as an overt act, right? If I am defining all of the crimes that are overt acts first, within the context of RICO, I'm just afraid that I don't know.
what I'm afraid of. It seems worrisome to me to some degree that then that would be where they find the definition of things that they have to substantively consider against these defendants. You know what I'm saying?
My idea was if you use the appendix for crimes not otherwise defined.
Right, right. I agree with that.
All right, but then the order of it, I just don't think.
I would say.
I'll address this in just a second.
I agree with Mr. Atkins, but I would think that we would do the appendix for the Overt acts tax.
I agree. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, yeah,
too.
the appendix comes at the end, so.
Right, but when we charge it, when I charge it, instead of saying, all right, now I've explained RICO to you, and now I'm going to tell you about the crimes that are overt acts. Here's how each of them is defined. I'm just going to say, I'm going to define those for you. If there are any, I'll just get to it later. And I'll do everything that's a count of the indictment. And then I'll say, you know, whatever I'm going to say. My brain's fried at this point.
Yeah,
but
thank you. I'm just a beat
RICO
behind right
refers
now.
to certain overt acts, some of which are crimes. Some of them have already been defined for you. Others haven't. Here's the definition.
You know, I can't wait for her to describe RICO to us. I'm ready for her to describe RICO to us. We have pulled up the statute of RICO several times on this channel and read it. But I'm ready for her to define RICO to us. Yeah, this was yesterday, Monica. But yeah, I'm ready for her to do that because I want to see how she defines it. It could be a little different. Here we go.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, what else?
So this is, so basically here under overt acts, this is in the RICO portion.
Doesn't it? I don't know. We'll figure it out tomorrow. You and I will figure it out tomorrow. Are you saying put that language there?
Well, that's what I'm wondering is if this is in the RICO. I mean, not all of the
Yeah.
language, but a reference.
So there's their RICO. And so let's see if we can bring that in a little bit more. When a count of an indictment charges that a defendant committed a crime in more than one way, the state does not need to prove the defendant committed the crime in every way. The state may prove the defendant committed the crime in any one of the ways charged. Well, that's not confusing or anything. For conspiracy to violate the Racketeering, Influencing, Corruption Organization Act, RICO, unknowingly and willfully conspired with one or other co-conspirators. Okay.
To where overt acts would be.
Well, can't you just put something in there to the effect of see Appendix A for definitions of?
Well, that's the question.
Okay, yeah, an overt act may, but does not
Next
have to be
week.
a crime in and of itself. That would be the place to
Probably
say that.
Monday or Tuesday.
Some of the overt acts
said.
alleged in this indictment
Are crimes. Are allegedly crimes?
Are, well, some of the acts alleged in this indictment, if proven, would be criminal violations, would be crimes. If proven, would be crimes.
Yeah.
Are you?
Are you typing this or?
I'm not typing this. Nobody's typing this. I'll type it. Some of the acts.
Are you both typing into the same document?
We can.
Would be crimes. Some of the ever, if proven, would be crimes. I'm just going to highlight that and think about that tomorrow in very Scarlett O'Hara fashion because my brain is not working anymore.
When you go through the indictment, the way we alleged it, where the overt act is a crime, we've identified the statute that violates. It's very easy to
Okay.
look at it. They'll know which ones.
Okay, great. I may even say that.
Of the overt acts,
those
the subset
have
of those
a
that are
site.
crimes, those are clearly identified in the allegations, and they'll have that document. So they don't have to guess which is which. It'll say is a violation of the statute.
All right, I may just say something like those will have a cite to a criminal code section. Okay, so I'll think about that more and come up with some language. So
Tomorrow is another day.
yeah, it may be tomorrow before that gets hashed out, but
We are working on a redacted indictment as well.
Okay.
So we'll get that tweaked and get that over to the court and everyone as well.
okay. All right. I think that we need to get together tomorrow and look at all kinds of things again, like hopefully a final jury charge, a jury verdict, what evidence is going to go out, the redacted indictment, all of those things. Which means that closings, which I think are going to take more.
So let me just point something out. Like through this whole thing, Max looks nervous. He's on the edge of his seat, ready to jump up. He looks nervous. Doug is chilling like a villain. He is relaxed. He's drinking a Coke. He smiled when she read off the directed verdict. He has no worries in the world. Max looks nervous. I'm just telling you what I see. Doug is a lamp back, like, bring it on.
More than a day, don't y'all? I mean, if I mean, y'all said, I don't know. It seemed like the time.
Look at him
period
drinking
y'all
a Coke.
gave me,
He ain't even.
Once you,
He ain't
once you
even
think
worried.
about the fact that people have to take bathroom breaks, that people have to eat lunch,
I rarely take a bathroom break, Your Honor.
that's 8.5 hours by y'all's
Cracking jokes.
estimates without any break. So that is more than a day's worth of closings.
Look,
So I
Sharp
think that means
shaking
we
his foot.
start closings
Telling you.
on Friday. But we probably don't finish closings until Monday. And then I charge the jury, which I hope, I have no idea how long the charge is going to take, but I would think that the rest of the closing and the charge can be completed Monday. They get the case Tuesday.
Yeah.
Well, the end of the day, Monday, but I mean, they're not going to do anything in that little amount of time unless I talk really fast while I'm charging. They have a short day on Wednesday.
Oh, they have a short day Wednesday.
They have a short day on Tuesday also. Oh, wait. This is,
Maybe it won't take
oh
them very long.
God, they do. These jurors and I mean, they are trying to live their lives. I can't remember why we have a late start next Tuesday also.
Saturday.
John,
See, I had a feeling they were going to be late today.
I am very afraid of
Would I
closing on.
consider doing all of this after Thanksgiving?
No, that's not what I'm asking. No, that's not what I'm asking. That's what the state's asking.
And only because, Your Honor,
If we close and they take breaks and say if we don't get a verdict back on Wednesday, you're going home, talking over the Thanksgiving dinner, and you're doing all of this, and you hope that they don't, but you don't know what
Well,
is.
I'm instructing them not to, and whether they have gotten the case or not, they're not supposed to be doing that.
I agree.
And
I agree. But we would.
I'll get back to you.
We are.
Go ahead.
I think it's, tell me not to say anything. I'm not.
Okay. Mr. Sharp.
This is my concern about Friday.
Okay.
Stages are opening, closing on Friday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Myself and Mr. Weinstein close on
Mhm.
Friday. Jury goes home for the weekend, come back Monday, and then all they hear.
It's
from
like
us-
the only thing they hear is the
So
states.
I would like, my proposal would be, I don't think everyone's gonna, I don't know this for a fact, I don't think everyone's gonna take as long as we think. I would ask if we could close on Monday, whatever we don't get done, I don't believe it would be much on Tuesday. And then we could give the jury instructions Tuesday, Wednesday, and then they could come back after the break to deliver. I just am very concerned about going for a weekend. And then-
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Because the other thing we can do is start the closings and have the state do their open close Tuesday, tomorrow afternoon. And then we finish with
Wow,
the
closing
closings on
tomorrow.
Friday. And then I instruct them on Monday. And they get the case on Monday.
I like the other idea better.
Hmm?
I like the other idea better.
Which was
Do they agree?
start the closings on Monday, finish them on Tuesday, which is a late start anyway of 11 at the earliest.
Okay. So they're going to start closing arguments on Monday. Wow. We are almost done with this case, y'all. She's giving them a whole day for closing arguments each. That's crazy. I know in the Karen Reed trial, they got 90 minutes. They got an hour and a half. So for them to get a day is really unheard of. But it is a big trial with a lot of acts being thrown at these guys, in my opinion, to see what sticks. But I think these two have a little bit more to be concerned about than Jeffrey did. But wow, this is insane. It's wrapping up so fast. Since Jeffrey went home, they don't have as much, I don't think. Tuesdays next year. I think we're done. I think this is it. I know they have more people, but I think this is crazy that we're almost over with the YSL trial. Like, what am I going to do with my life? Okay, I finally see movement in the court. Let me bring up the seal. There we go. There. What they don't see is that the jury is going to be happy the defense is not wasting any of their time, and they will slide the side of the defense. The reason alone, yeah. leaving us, Debbie? What I'm concerned about is if they get a Thanksgiving day and they go home and they have family come over and they're like, oh, you're on the YSL trial. Did you know so-and-so, this about so-and-so and that about so-and-so and that's what I'm worried about. They've got family coming over and they're telling them this and that and the other. And then they come in Friday and then that's when they're deliberating. That's what I would be concerned about. Hey, Lauren, good morning, honey. That's my concern. That's just me. I don't know. What do you guys think? I know. I know. I know it. It would be hard not to. A case this big, it would be hard not to, you know. If y'all ever watch TikTok videos about this trial, they are hilarious. If y'all don't follow Dear Woke Christian on TikTok, make sure you follow him. Here is his name on TikTok. Dear Woke Christian YT on TikTok. Let's pull up his TikTok page. I didn't even do that.
Because you cannot be voting for Kamala. Kamala, you're not a Kamala person. I know you. I've watched you. I know him better than he is. You know what? Without speaking to you, I think I know you maybe almost as well as your wife. I have watched you for so many years. You're not a Kamala person. You're a Khabib person, but you're not a Kamala person.
What in the world was that?
We do need it. Oh, hold on, y'all. We need to do something. So I need everybody to get on their keyboards. There's somebody that we need to have a moment for. Everybody. Matter of fact, let me.
Somebody's upset right now.
I need to get some sad music. Oh my god.
I know what you're doing.
Oh my goodness. I need to get some sad music on, y'all.
I know what you're doing.
You know what? I'm gonna douse the camera.
There is one.
This is sad. This is sad, y'all. And I'm gonna put it across the bottom right here. Y'all.
I know what you're doing.
Let's have a moment of silence for Vera. Let's have a moment of silence for Vera. Let's have a moment of silence, because somewhere out there, Vera is on Epstein watch. Vera on Epstein watch somewhere, y'all. So we might need to pray for Vera.
Like a couple of days ago, because she's getting on my nerves.
Right, go ahead. Y'all, just for old time's sake, in the words of Freddie Jackson, go and put Vera in the chat for the last time. Let's do it.
Don't give her a big What's wrong, Vera?
And you can misspell it like I just did because I was laughing too hard. We got to have a moment of silence for Vera, y'all.
What's wrong, Vera?
Where you at, boo? I'm unblocking all the Veras in the chat, in the block. I done blocked about 15 different forms of Vera. I'm gonna unblock them all. Vera, you're welcome tonight, baby. We are here if you need a shoulder to cry on.
If you just coming in, Thug is going home today.
Because you know why, Vera? Thug is going home. I don't even know where else to go with.
Oh, that is so funny. Okay, let's talk about that. He has been on YouTube, first of all, but Jason is working now, and And so he hasn't been on as much. Has been pumping out some videos. So make sure you like them, you subscribe to them. But you know, we do what we got to do, right? For our families, we do what we got to do for our bills. And so I'm just doing what I can to help out as far as live streaming. But he will do most of the live streaming nighttime content. He's going live tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. But he's, you know, we just all do what we got to do. So just make sure you give him the views for the videos and the live streams. And but yeah, Jason's just he's working. He's doing that 9 to 5. Just giving them views. Put out a good one yesterday. That one? Oh, that it was that one. Here, let's pull in this one real quick.
We categorically deny and contest any use of violence by Mr. Nichols. We don't agree to that underlying factual basis. We believe those two predicate acts that were committed by Mr. Nichols without any question are sufficient to meet the elements of the offense. The offense to which he's pleaded to, which is a RICO conspiracy. A RICO conspiracy requires proof that the defendant either conspire with another person to violate one of the substantive provisions of RICO, and that would be drug offenses, or personally endeavor, I believe that's what the language of the statute says, to violate one of the substantive provisions.
Well, that's what the language of the statute says, but
Yes.
he is indicted in this indictment with conspiring, not with endeavoring.
That's correct. So we're talking about a conspiracy. We acknowledge the two events that he participated in.
Okay, I hear court starting, so we're going to go there.
Let's go ahead and get defense counsel. I know I've been just in chambers making some edits to the instructions. Figured it was easy enough to do that back there.
She got going on with her hair.
Do you want to let are the defense attorneys back in that conference room? Well, they may not know that I'm here, so. Mr. Kendrick, did they let you sleep this morning? Okay. Good morning. is the verdict form that you were working on. Latest version of the charges. I did some further edits this morning, caught some things that needed to be said differently. So she's going to send that right now, and y'all can take a look at it. And did any of y'all have edits that you noticed that need to be dealt with? No, no. Okay. Okay. All right. So one question I had is, we've got conspiracy, the 2.021020, and then presence of the parties right now kind of set out also as separate charges, but I don't know who requested that, but I'm kind of thinking we've already covered what those mean. And it may be that in our overt acts, there's a conspiracy to commit a crime that's an actual allegation so that I would need to charge it with the overt acts, but do we need to charge separately? Or does somebody want that as a separate charge?
You said conspiracy?
Yeah.
And what were the other two?
It's conspiracy, and then there are additional instructions about conspiracy, and then there's the presence, conduct, companionship before and after an alleged offense may be considered by you in determining whether they give rise to an inference of a conspiracy. I mean, I feel like we kind of already explained, here's what conspiracy means within the RICO statute.
I think that's correct. I agree with Mr. Shaw.
Okay, state
No objection, Your Honor.
to taking those out.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So another thing we need to do now that we just have the 106 possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, that does have a pattern. It's really simple. It's just for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, the state must prove the defendant possessed a firearm after having been convicted of a felony. And then there's a blank to say these particular things are felonies. So I don't know what the convictions of these two defendants are that have come in right offhand, but I would think that that's what's supposed to get listed in the blank.
I think probably whatever convictions are listed in the indictment as the predicates for the possession of firearms would be the ones that we would list there.
Well,
And
are those convictions for these defendants in? I thought that was the whole.
Yes, Your Honor. So the underlying convictions for at least Mr. Kendrick is in, Your Honor, the underlying conviction for Mr. Stillwell, that is a conviction that I was looking for right before the state rested this case. I was going through a folder. It's supposed to be exhibit 34Q. I do not see 34Q inside of the documentation that is sitting there. That's the only exhibit missing. And so we are trying to find 34Q. I believe the court said that
I did.
we can open it up for that, that limited purpose, but that is the exhibit that we've been looking for with the 34Q, which is the 15 SC. I think the last digit ends in 6. I know from this higher indictment.
Have you gotten through all of the evidence?
Not since not since Monday or Tuesday when we rested to determine if it's
Okay. So, all right, you just hadn't checked yet.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So for Mr. Stillwell, it's the felony that he's charged with in count 52 as having already been convicted of is actually also possession of a firearm by a convicted, 2 counts of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, a 15 and a 19 SC. Is that your understanding? Okay. Well, that's not charged in this indictment, in this count. So I guess then what we would say there is crazily circular. Possession of a firearm by a convicted felon is a felony. He's charged with two counts of that. Or no, just one. Mr. Kendrick's charged with? So looking at the possession of a firearm by a convicted felon charge against Mr. Kendrick, one of his alleged prior felonies is also possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, but the other one is possession of a firearm during the commission or attempt to commit certain crimes. Do y'all know what that was specifically? Like, was he specifically charged? Was it just during the commission of a felony? The way it was charged?
Yeah, he was charged in 15 SC 140116 with possession of a firearm during the commission of certain felonies, which would have been participation in criminal street gang activity, conspiracy to commit.
What did he plead to, though? I thought the gang, y'all drop a whole lot of gang counts, it seems like.
No,
So-
he, in this indictment, he pled the conspiracy to commit a crime, which was aggravated assault. He pled the criminal street gang activity, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, theft by receiving stolen property, purchase, possession, or having control of a controlled substance in Schedule 1 and 2. 1 or 2, excuse me.
Okay, I'm just going to say possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon are both felonies. Okay. I don't know if there's, so we'll have to figure out what the verdict form is going to look like before we can say figure out exactly what we're going to say with regard to how they walk through the verdict form. We also need to take another look at the overt act charges and make sure that everything is included that needs to get included that hasn't otherwise been defined in these main charges. So do y'all have a copy of that you can look at?
Yes, Your Honor.
This is the copy Ms. Percival circulated at the end of the day yesterday.
Yes, I don't think it's changed since then. There are some slight changes.
Do we have the slight changes yet?
No, because we were going through it literally minutes ago. But I can screen share that if that's the easiest way to do it.
I think so.
Okay. Yes.
I may have spoken a little quickly. The 3 conspiracy charges.
Yes.
Talking about on 18, I've checked those against what you have in the RICO. The only thing that's in those that's not in the RICO that should be part of the conspiracy
Okay.
charge is conduct of the alleged conspirators. That's where it stops in the RICO. I think it'd be appropriate to add the words before and after the commission of the alleged offense. That's an integral part of the conspiracy charge. Otherwise, I think everything that was in those three charges, you're correct, is captured earlier in the
Okay. So what are the offenses though? You know, like, I think we kind of got hung up on that yesterday.
Well, that's, we're talking about the RICO conspiracy. That would be the commission of
I mean, I could just say any alleged offense.
Yes, before and after the commission of any alleged offense, yes. Instead of the,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Would that work?
Yes.
Would that work for the defense?
Okay with it. Yeah, that's fine, Your Honor.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks. All right, so with regard to the overt acts, what I was planning to say after I define overt act, so it'll say overt act means an outward act made in furtherance of a conspiracy. The overt act may, but does not have to be a crime in and of itself. I was going to say some of the overt acts alleged in this indictment, if proven, would be crimes. You can tell which those are because they will list a cite to a criminal code section. Later in these instructions, I will define for you any alleged crimes that are alleged in the overt acts that I have not already defined. Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
All right, have y'all together coalesced on any type of verdict form or?
I think coalesced. No, we have not coalesced on a jury verdict.
All right.
Coalesced isn't us in the state.
We're maybe closer to congealing than coalescing.
Well, if y'all congealed
Yeah,
on a
they have it.
verdict form.
We've prepared one. We've circulated it to them. They got it this morning a few minutes ago. We have not had that discussion yet.
The best way to proceed may be to throw it up and then on the screen, and then
Okay.
we can discuss the edits we would like to see.
All right.
That works for Mr. Sharp.
Okay, and I don't know. Are y'all ready to do overt acts? The overt acts definitions? Or no? Yes?
We could do that and come back to verdict form. Yes.
I mean, we need to do them both.
Okay, any
So,
order the court would like.
Doesn't matter to me.
Not here, I hope, Tanya. You can definitely post American flags here.
This first field is like, y'all are all over the place this morning. Wait, that's all any of us wants.
She had a Christina Weaver expression. That one.
All right, do you have it up on the screen? Okay. All right, do we need, so firearm is a deadly weapon that needs to get charged, but that isn't like a separate charge, right? I mean, I do think that for these overt acts, it would be helpful to leave like assault as a heading if one of the crimes is assault.
But maybe, I think it's also, Your Honor, because one of the crimes is aggravated assault, so, and for aggravated assault, you need to define assault.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well, if it's only aggravated assault, then let's have, can you switch it to say aggravated assault? And is it aggravated assault with a deadly weapon that's the overt act?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So that'll be to prove assault. So I think underneath there, we'll give the definition of assault. A person, or assault means to commit or attempt to commit a violent injury to someone else. All right, does that work the way we have aggravated assault now?
Yes.
And then do we have simple battery or how is it listed?
There's an aggravated battery.
Okay, so that would be the same kind of thing then. Well, I don't know that we need the definition of simple battery because aggravated battery is kind of its own definition. You have to actually cause bodily harm. So do we have any simple batteries in the overt acts?
No.
Okay. We have terroristic threats.
Yes.
Was it from the person or from the immediate presence? Or do you want both?
That was, Reggie Hill was a car, and I believe a purse that was in the car. So that would have the immediate presence.
Okay.
That's correct, Your Honor, in terms of that overt act 61 says from the immediate presence.
Okay. All right, and then we have a theft by receiving stolen property.
Yes, Your Honor.
And is it all of those things, receives, disposes of, or retains?
I think receives or retains.
Y'all okay if I just say keeps?
Oh, yeah.
Oops. Do we need to define receiving? I don't think so. Unless, I mean, don't y'all think everybody knows what the word receives means?
I think so.
Okay.
Should we say alleged perpetrator?
Instead of, yeah. Well, are we saying alleged perpetrator?
I thought we were saying alleged perpetrator. Are we not?
It's perpetrator.
Just perpetrator? Okay.
Oops. Can you do a global replace of defendant for perpetrator? And we can get rid of that if there's any reasonable doubt, because that's not relevant for here. All right, possession of a machine gun look okay?
Your Honor, for consistency, excuse me, in theft by receiving, the last paragraph says goods. I think everywhere else it says property. Maybe say property, just to be consistent.
Well, it says goods in the
It
second
says
paragraph
goods.
too.
That is one of the pattern charges that has not gone through a plain language rewrite yet. So it's all over the place. Yeah, but I mean, we can say property was,
You say goods in the first sentence as well of the second paragraph.
let's say the pattern says.
Oh, that's okay. I'm sorry. The pattern. You're on.
We okay with this one? All right, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. I think I'll just lift we already have that defined in our substantive counts, right?
Correct.
All right, so the question is, some of the other acts, crimes will have been defined already. But for instance, the fact that we have possession of firearm by a convicted felon in the other acts as well, is there a preference for whether it still gets listed in this appendix and just said that's already been defined, or not listed at all?
The state would request to list it and say as previously defined.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right, so this one will just say previously defined.
And this will all get cleaned up so it looks kind of the same.
And there'll be some others we have to add in there, I would think, but. So on the possession with intent to distribute, we've got various different substances, I think. Do we want to list all of those that way, or just say the substance?
Yes, I would just say the substance.
Okay. Well, so we'll get that fixed. All right, criminal gang activity. Well, yeah, a bunch of these are already. All right, so that's it that we've got. What else needs to get included from the overt acts?
I'm going through around what I have.
Okay.
1 minute, I'm on.
All right, great, thank you.
Judge, there's a couple in here that don't have a header on them.
Okay.
One of these sale of marijuana.
Okay.
There's two that are the possession by an inmate.
Oh, okay. I did not.
Sorry, they don't
Yes.
have- they don't have
Okay.
headers on them.
Okay. I see them now. I'll just kind of bold them for now. Are y'all okay with, everybody okay with how those two get defined?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor. And Your Honor, I had one
Yes.
thought with the consolidating the controlled substances.
Uh-huh.
Could we have one sentence that says, for any of these substances, MDMA, methamphetamine are controlled
Controlled
substances?
substances, sure.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Can you do that, Laura? Is the defense okay with those two ways that possession of a weapon, possession of telecommunications device by an inmate are defined?
Give me just one moment, please.
Yeah.
And Your Honor, my list was not exhaustive. Any of the controlled substances like oxycodone that we have, we could just have one sentence with all of those substances, are controlled substances, because each individual one lets the juror know.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
I would,
The jail part?
yes.
Yeah.
I think my personal opinion is it should follow the text of the statute a little bit more and be less specific about while incarcerated with inmates.
Yeah.
Totally in Fulton County. Yeah, that one's a little bit, what does it say? At a jail or at a correctional? What does it say? I mean, at a jail? There are all these different definitions. I don't know. Let me pull up if anybody knows. Can give me this.
42,518.
Okay. Can you read what it says? I don't have Lexus up yet. Well, it really says while an inmate. Okay. Wow, an inmate. I'm happy to say out of jail if y'all want, but.
No, just while an inmate, I think is fine.
Okay.
Your Honor.
So question, I would just think possessed and not was found in possession of. Thoughts on that? It's kind of what the statute
Yeah.
says.
Whenever, of course, ready.
Yep,
I
we're
think
ready.
I found, so what I believe we are missing, and depends on how we want to do it, is attempted murder.
Okay.
murder, and then conspiracy to commit murder, and conspiracy to possess a telecommunication device by an inmate.
Was that a conspiracy? The last one?
The last one with Mr. Garlington on the phone with Frank Hubert and Quantavious Greer.
Is that charged as one of the overt?
Yes, that is count 1. I mean, excuse me, not count, act 1. $179.
So conspiracy to possess a telecommunications device?
Yes.
So we have Your Honor, we have a possession of telecommunications device by inmate and a conspiracy. Because 170 is possession.
Okay, so conspiracy to possess a telecommunications device by an inmate?
Yes. That's because they
Is
were on
the conspiracy by the inmate who was trying to possess it, or alleged to be by someone else, like helping them? You know what I'm asking?
Yes, it was helping. They discussed possibly flying the phones in the jail through a drone.
You know,
179.
okay, so that would be then like B1, it's unlawful for any person to procure or give an inmate.
Wait, they were doing what?
A telecommunications device, right? So it's a conspiracy to do that, right?
Yes.
So conspiracy to provide. Right?
Well, conspiracy to.
I mean, the statute is not, the statute's called items prohibited for possession by inmates. And part of what is illegal within there is for another person to obtain, procure, or give an inmate any prohibited item. So how do you want me to say that? Conspiracy to provide a telecommunication device to an inmate?
The problem is they cited a certain section in the Overt Acts.
Well, how did they say it?
They said in the Overt Act, it says, Mikion Garlington and Quantavious Greer did unlawfully commit the felony offense of conspiracy to possess a telecommunications device by an inmate.
And then described it as how?
When, while speaking over a cell phone to an incarcerated Fulton County jail inmate, discussed a plan to fly a drone carrying cell phones beyond the guard lines to a window
Okay.
at the Fulton County jail, in violation of 42-518.
Both of those individuals were out of jail and they were.
It does. That's okay. I understand, but that's not really a conspiracy charge. That's a violation of this statute. But I guess because they didn't actually achieve it, then, okay. Conspiracy to possess a
Or to provide.
well, y'all said possess. Conspiracy to a telecommunications device. All right, I need to say. Y'all can be coming up with language for whatever the next one's going to be.
I think the only two that it appears will be the attempted murder and the conspiracy to commit murder.
All right, well,
Based on what I
figure out the language while I'm working on this one. So am I going to need to define conspiracy? Or can I just say attempts to? So we're not actually like finding anybody guilty of these things in counts or anything. Y'all tell me.
I agree, you're right. I don't think we need to define conspiracy. I think you could just put.
So could I just say a person commits the offense of conspiracy to possess a telecommunications device when that person attempts to provide an unauthorized telecommunications device to an inmate?
Yes.
Okay. That okay with the defense?
When that person,
Attempts to provide an unauthorized telecommunications device or cell phone, I can just say cell phone, to an inmate.
this might be putting the word in the definition, but why wouldn't we put conspires to? Because it's not an
Why
attempt.
wouldn't we put?
It's not an attempt, like,
Okay, I don't have the definition of conspiracy in front of me anymore. I'm happy to say it however way y'all want.
I'm not saying we need to define conspiracy again, but instead of saying when a person attempts to provide a, why wouldn't we just say when a person conspires to?
Well, I guess just because I was taught you never define a word with the word. But
I understand, but to me,
we can, I'm fine with that.
We're describing a crime.
Fine, conspires.
It's just because attempt is another.
Fine with me.
Term.
There.
Can we?
Okay, that's fine.
I have the conspiracy charge, so.
Okay.
A person commits conspiracy to commit possession of a telecommunication device by an inmate when that person, together with one or more other persons, we're going back to what Mr. Shar just said, though, conspires to commit.
Okay.
Mr. Shar.
A person commits the offense of conspiracy to possess a telecommunications device when that person conspires with someone else to provide an unauthorized cell phone to an inmate. Good with everybody?
That's good.
Oh, yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. All right. So then we need,
That's fine.
we will have listed, are these getting listed in the order in which they come as overt acts ultimately, I guess?
If we can, yes.
Okay. So somewhere we'll already have murder. And then we'll need attempted murder.
It seems to make more sense to put them in alphabetical order just because you don't know if the jury may be going back, jumping
I don't
around, but
care. We just
whatever.
need to decide on a way. Yes.
I was going to say for the next attempted murder, just to cite the pattern instruction 20110, but I think whether it's chronological from the overt acts or alphabetical, either one is.
Attempted murder ought to come after murder.
Yes, Your Honor. And because we define murder, the jury will have already been instructed on it for the counts. When attempted murder comes up in the overt acts, I think all that needs to be defined is just attempt, and then murder is previously defined.
Right. Okay. So we'll define attempt.
Which
I
I
like
have
that.
that instruction is simply a person commits criminal attempt to commit insert offense, in this case murder, when with intent to commit, that person performs any act that constitutes a substantial step towards the commission of the crime.
Okay. Where did you get that from? Where could I
Your Honor,
lift that from?
the pattern instruction is 2.01.10, attempt statutory definition from the pattern instruction.
Oh, one. Perfect. Okay.
In Your Honor, the only other attempt I believe we have is the attempted armed robbery, which is Act 5. But we also we will be defining armed robbery in these overt acts as well.
I'm sorry, but where oh, okay, I was looking at the wrong charge. So I think maybe we just do attempt to commit a crime, and then they can reference it for both of them, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So we're just doing attempt.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
That's what I have up. You see what I have, Judge?
No, I don't. I was totally doing my own thing. Does that work for y'all? What's on the screen? I think say with intent to commit that crime instead of a crime.
Yes, Your Honor. Stated here.
Yeah, okay.
And should this be criminal attempt or just attempt?
Probably criminal attempt. All right, so conspiracy to commit murder would sort of be like our conspiracy to have the telecommunications device, right? A person commits. Where is that? Where do you have?
Okay, this is not quite right, but.
Let me see how murders. I mean, we could just say the crime of murder. To cause the death of another person unlawfully and with malice aforethought, or, I mean, is it just, it could be, can you attempt to commit felony murder? I guess. Beats me. No, I mean, we don't. Do we want to just say murder, or do we want to say cause the death of another person unlawfully with malice aforethought?
I think just murder, because we would have already defined
All right.
murder.
Certainly. I think that's fine. Everybody all right with that? The way that's defined? Okay. All right, do we think we have all of the, other than the ones we need to just add and say, you know, this is already defined? We think we have everything?
I sent an email, I apologize, as it relates to aggravated battery, the malice definition is different than the malice for murder. And so it's usually given underneath aggravated battery as it relates to
Okay. Is that part of the pattern charge?
2.22.31, Your Honor.
Thank you. I can,
I have it, Judge.
okay. I think just drop the whole thing in there and,
I just dropped it in there.
yeah. Do you want that first sentence? Does anybody care if we have that first sentence or just start with malice in this context means?
I think we start with malice in this context means.
Except it says maliciously, not malice.
Yep. Okay, we'll just leave the whole thing. Anything else on these? Okay. All right, I think we better turn to the verdict form then. All right, so I know Ms. Percifield had taken kind of, I think, I don't know even whose it was, but somebody's from yesterday and started working on that. And then I know we've got new proposals from the state and from the defense. Is that right?
For the verdict form, no, I have complaints, but no proposal, but.
I sent some edits and I have additional edits, but I know I sent one form in with edits.
All right.
But that was prior to the most recent version from the state.
I mean,
And this language is lifted from the charges that we all looked at yesterday.
Should I just start making some comments? Or?
Okay. This is from the court.
it's, yeah, I mean, it's a draft.
On the last sentence that says list each overt act and or pattern of racketeering activity to which you all agree. I believe that we at least need the word, well, I would like the word unanimously before agree. because the pattern has to be unanimous. I'm still looking. That's just one that jumped out.
And then, you know, under this form, would there be yes, no, or how would they?
Honestly, I'm not even looking at it right now. I'm sorry, give me just a minute.
Yes.
That's a good question.
Yeah, you're not the only one.
Yeah, it definitely blanks. I would think it would be guilty, not guilty. That's.
Yeah, they've got, I mean, there's got to be some way they can agree or disagree with that.
Maybe on the question of
Go ahead.
maybe something.
They said tomorrow.
On the question on has the state proven beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant knowingly, and then so you start out with like on the question or something to that effect, and then the options would be not guilty and guilty.
So, bear with me. The sort of concept that we, I think, settled upon last night was that they needed to be unanimous that there was a pattern of racketeering activity.
There would be a pattern.
That a defendant agreed to having somebody commit a pattern of racketeering activity. So maybe do you agree? Do we want them? I don't know that we want them having to say, I think that as long as they are instructed what I was, let me start entirely over. So once we got to the verdict form, I was going to say for count one, the state must prove that the defendant knowingly and willfully agreed to join a conspiracy, understanding that one or more conspirators, himself and or a co-conspirator, would commit at least 2 interrelated acts of racketeering activity within 4 years of each other to either get or keep money or other property or to participate in the enterprise. And the state must prove that any of the conspirators committed an overt act after May 10th, 2017 to further a criminal objective of the conspiracy. To be unanimous on this count, you must be unanimous as to the pattern of racketeering activity that the defendant agreed would be committed. You do not have to be unanimous as to specific acts of racketeering activity. You must also be unanimous that at least one overt act was committed after May 10th, 2017 to further a criminal objective of the conspiracy. And then I guess, if you determine that the state has proven all of this, or if you're unanimous as to all of this, you should note on your verdict form any overt acts that you all agree to.
As well as the pattern of racketeering activity that they unanimously agreed to?
I mean,
Was it a question or that was a request from me?
Maybe after that first part, which I agreed with and liked and feel that it's an accurate representation of what needs to be proven, that's where we put in the options, you the jury or we the jury find guilty or not guilty or guilty. And then afterwards, if guilty, identify the predicate act. Okay.
Identify the pattern of racketeering activity that you unanimously agreed upon.
And additionally, identify the overt act.
After that date.
After that date, act with the S potential.
Well,
and then
any overt act.
After May
And they don't.
2017.
Well, we can figure out whether they occurred after. I mean, they've been told that if they're going to list any overt act, then they should list any overt act, not just the overt acts after that date. And then we can figure out whether one of them is after that date.
Every one of them in the indictment has a date attached.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I may.
And y'all had asked either by act number or otherwise, right?
Well, actually, since yesterday.
Yes.
This is going a little bit in reverse order. But the concern that I expressed yesterday was, I think the phrase at that time was, note on your verdict form any overt acts. And in thinking about that, and given that the court's inclination is to tell the jury that if they find overt acts with all the attached requirements, they should list them, is kind of asking them. I don't know what we're going to get if we just say list it. I don't know how they're going to interpret it. So when we sent a verdict form this morning, what we did was attach a list of all of them with a line they can check and to signal that they find it. And just a brief instruction above that says, please check below every act in furtherance of the conspiracy, which all 12 of you unanimously agree was committed by one or more conspirator. Honestly, I don't think we have to say both all 12 and unanimously. I think either one is fine. And so we would have, I think we just say unanimously agree. But that way, we'll know, they know to begin and they know to end. They know to do the entire exercise. And there's 190 as of this point in time, I believe. They go through all of them. They check the ones they find if they find it. That way we don't have them quit early and we don't have them kind of create their own form. I'm very concerned about the opportunity for confusion that presents.
Well, if we're going to use any version of that, it needs to say any act and not every act.
I understand that's, I get that. You're not instructing them that they have to find an act. I understand. But this will give us the answer. I mean, if they are going to be told to designate, report those acts they find, then I think a form that takes them through all of them we'll get the answer. We'll get their answer to each one.
What are the highlights?
Those are acts that may need to come
Y'all
out.
haven't decided on those yet.
Yes.
Defense?
If they come out, that would only,
Okay.
that would just, we
All
just
right.
have fewer. That's
I
all, but
understand.
the principle remains the same.
I prefer the proposal that Your Honor was putting forth. If we use the checklist that the state has put forth, I think it needs to say, please check any over or the over act with the possibility for plural S, if any. Which all 12 of you unanimously agree beyond a reasonable doubt was committed by one or more conspirators.
And I also prefer the court's original suggestion over the checklist.
So,
But
Your
if-
Honor, I don't think we need beyond a reasonable doubt again. You've already rejected the idea that we have to put that in everything all
Yeah.
the time. They'll be clearly instructed on that. And then
I just really don't like the instruction check below every act, because it just indicates that there is at least one.
I
the
agree.
state agrees. If
We would
if the
definitely
word is
change
any,
that
we have no
language.
objection. So we can take care of that one. And then I have a little more, but I just wanted to explain that list that we've appended here.
All right,
and
well,
the
I'll
logic behind it.
consider that. Is this in Word form in our folder, Laura?
It's not saved in the folder because it just got sent over this morning.
Okay. All right. What else, Mr.
The,
Floyd?
Thank you, Your Honor. If we could display the version we had up before, because I don't have a copy of it.
Well, you can talk about it. I'm looking at it,
All right.
whether it's
I know.
displayed or
I
not.
just I don't have the words in front of me.
Oh.
In the general premise here, Your Honor, is that I think there's an awful lot in there, and it's.
Oh, I hadn't even looked at what was, honestly, that's just something, yeah, I'm not going to write it like that.
Okay.
It is not, it's going to say count one RICO. Now, I guess it doesn't matter whether they find subsection A or subsection B, as long as they find one of them.
That's correct.
But they all have to agree on the same one.
No, they have to agree. They have to agree that.
They have to unanimously agree that it was committed in one of those ways.
But it could be either or both.
But they all have to, it couldn't be 6 on one way, 6 on the other.
I don't know. Does anybody know the answer to that? I mean, it's not like in any kind of an aggravated assault case I've ever said, you've got to pick and tell me, did you think that they were, in reasonable apprehension, or did you think some other way?
You're telling them that they have to find they conspired to violate the statute, and they could have conspired in one or both ways, and you're telling them they have to be unanimous. I don't think we have to tell them they have to be unanimous on everything all the time, just like we don't have to tell them that the proof is beyond a reasonable doubt. That is ultimately my concern, because yesterday we spent a lot of time going over your instruction on and as it's expressed here, the 7 elements of each of these two. And they got that, and they're going to take it with them out. So re-expressing this in some way here is never going to exactly match that. If it did exactly match it, it would have no purpose. And if it doesn't exactly match it, it opens the door to some confusion.
Do they have to unanimously agree? Assume they only find one. Do they have to unanimously, all 12, say, yes, it was the conspiracy to violate subsection A? Or
Number one, no case on it. Number two, if they find both, if they're unanimous as to both, it doesn't matter.
I know. That's why I'm asking if they're not.
I'm just I understand.
Okay.
I'm thinking it through.
All right.
That's all. If they do not find one, they're not unanimous on one, they would have to be unanimous on the other. If they find both, if they're unanimous on both, it makes no difference. There's nothing more for them to do.
Okay, then I think it has to be listed out as subsection A and subsection B. If everybody agrees, they have to agree, all 12 of them, it's A or it's B.
So it would be, do you find them guilty, not guilty as conspiracy to violate A?
Yeah.
Find them guilty, not guilty as conspiracy to violate B? We don't object to that.
But I disagree with the state in that I do believe that at least having the word unanimous in there would be helpful to the jury, because I really, talking about confusion, I think the racketeering statute is so complex, just to put the word unanimous in isn't
I
that
hear
big a
you,
deal.
but I'm going to tell them everything you check on this verdict form, you all 12 have to be unanimous about.
And Your Honor, if you're editing the document now, can we view that or? Oh, okay. Yeah, we can't view that.
I'm old school writing it down. I don't even know, honestly, which of the documents to use because I don't love any of them. So.
Just to be clear from the state's view, I think if we had the one we had submitted said count one, we find the jury not guilty or guilty of conspiracy to violate the Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organization Act. Based on the conversation we just
subsection
had.
A.
Yeah. And then a second one, subsection B.
Yeah, and they'd both be under count one.
And I think you would want to say the jury can find them guilty of one, both, neither.
Yeah, agreed.
So that they don't think their job is done if they just check one, because we want that answer.
All right.
But I think with that and the chart on Overt, everything that needs to be known is known.
No, because I think since they have to be unanimous on the pattern of racketeering activity, I think that they need to identify the pattern of racketeering activity.
I mean,
I can't disagree more.
I understand both of your positions. I think that I will have them, like the one that Ms. Persfield had displayed first, I think, have to say they are unanimous that a pattern,
that would have been
whatever, however we're going to say it. But I'm not going to have them describe the pattern. I mean, we'll have sufficiently explained it to them. They can just say, yep, we're unanimous.
Okay.
When you asked me over the last couple of days about cases that have used verdict forms that say more than guilty, not guilty, what I've just talked about on behalf of the state, I've never seen one go further than that. Guilty, not guilty, and if there's a question about which predicates or which overt predicates in a substantive case, overt in a conspiracy case, That's it. I've never seen one that asked any more of the jury.
All right. Well, I think I'm just gonna sit with all of the proposed verdict forms and put together something that I think makes sense and then show it to y'all later.
Let me lodge a last complaint
'Kay.
before you sit down with them. Also with the states, I don't think I said this, but with the states checklist, I don't know why we would be sending out checklist options for things outside the statute of limitations. They can't justify. I mean, we're giving them options to check things that legally cannot support a
Well, if that's
conviction.
all they check and they don't check one that's after May, whatever, then
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to use the checklist, but if I do, it's going to have everything that goes out. All right, so I will work on a verdict form, thinking about all of the different things we've just talked about. Y'all need to figure out what evidence goes out and what evidence doesn't, because if we're taking, the rest of today and then we're taking tomorrow for y'all to have a work day, once we close and I instruct, I don't want to take 2 hours to figure out the evidence. That needs to go out when they walk out. Y'all understand?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm going to step off and we will be in recess, but y'all stay here and work on all of these various things.
Okay. She just said tomorrow would be a work day. I'm taking that as a no camera day. Very interesting. So did y'all hear that? She said tomorrow would be a work day. What? The cameraman is wilding here lately. It goes on and on, my friend. Yeah, y'all are choking me up in the chat. Y'all are getting me all teary-eyed and stuff. But I love y'all, and that's what family does, right? Okay, so somebody wanted to see my earrings. Do you still want to see my earrings? Here they are. Look at my Rudolph earrings. And they light up. They light up. Let me get them to light up. Oh, there they are. Look, look, look. I don't know if you can see them lighting up or not because it's not dark in here. But, I love Rudolph, y'all. I'm such a nerd. I'm such a nerd. I'm such a nerd, y'all. Okay. Look what I got the other day. I got a Sam the Snowman from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Do y'all remember him? He's at the very beginning, and at the end, he comes up in the snow, and he's like, oh, here's how this story goes. Okay. So I got him, and I got the Bumble. I got the Bumble. Look at that. How cool is that? Tell me that's not cool. Tell me that's not cool. Oh, you have no idea. I have cabinets and cabinets. I have 5 cabinets full of crap. And then I got mini ones. These are my favorites. The Island of Misfit Toys. I'm not that into pop figures, but these are cool. The Island of Misfit Toys, the Spotted Elephant and the Charlie in the Box. I got these from look, I could have told you right away if you hadn't asked me. The place that sells video games and stuff. like teenagers. That's probably going out of business soon. What's the name of that place? I can't think of the name. GameStop. Yes, GameStop. That's exactly where I got them. GameStop. Oh. Look, if I wouldn't have said going out of business soon, y'all would have been like, where? Yeah, GameStop. That's where I got them. And they weren't that expensive either. So I don't know how long y'all have been watching this trial. Thank you. I'm trying to look very fall-y today, wearing my fall necklace that my mother-in-law gave me. Got leaves and stuff in it, and wearing my little fall dress. Trying to look very fall-y today. Since the beginning, I know some of us tapped in like in the middle, like me. I kind of tapped in the middle-ish. Day one. All right. So who can tell me who, without looking, like right now, who did the opening statement for Gat Gotti? Who did the opening statement for Gat Gotti right now in the chat? Who did the opening statement for Gat Gotti? No, why don't I see an answer right away? Oh, hang on.
And y'all are going to get lots of work done in the meantime. All right.
They're adjourning court for the day. They're adjourning court today. Believe it or not, no. 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 That's wrong too. Somebody that is in Doug's firm. I thought that we could listen to it if y'all want to. If you don't want to and y'all are just done for the day, that's fine too. It's completely up to you guys if y'all are just done for the day. Yeah, they were just going like that, weren't they? I did find where Shannon Steelwell's where Max does a great gang breakdown just 2 days ago. Well, I can't get that out of my mouth for some reason. Let's pull it up. I can't even get it out of my mouth for some reason. Ugh. Max Sharp. Why can't I get that out of my mouth?
While we're talking about Cap,
Yeah, we'll recap today. Sure, we can do that.
Mr. Stillwell
should be
referred to
pretty easy.
himself as Big Slime.
Yes.
Okay, you ever hear anyone else refer to Mr. Stillwell as Big Slime?
I'm trying to think. He's been referred to as Big Slime and Life-Size Lizard.
Right, that's what he calls himself.
He's also referred to as that. I've heard him.
Okay. So he was claiming to be Big Slime in the song that he wrote or performed. Okay. Then we got, let's see, Dolly White in one of the songs. Bullshit, right?
Dolly, yes.
She brags about making $201K in a day.
Okay.
Okay. Do you know, is there any evidence that you have that on that day that Dolly White was claiming that she made $201K that day, that she actually made $201,000 that day?
I wouldn't know what day it is to be able to tell you. She could have been on Instagram or somewhere bragging about having 200K. So without knowing the day, I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Do you have any evidence that Dolly White not talking about Jeffrey Williams, I'm talking about Dolly White, has ever made $201,000 in a day in her life.
I couldn't tell you what Miss Greer makes.
Could that have been cap?
It could, but also could not have been.
So, we talked about the lyrics on direct. In these songs, Mr. Stillwell never mentioned an infinity.
No.
Never mentioned Diamante Kendrick.
No.
Never mentioned Demise McMullen or Nard.
No.
Never mentioned Justin Cobb or Doo-Wop.
No.
No, it was Jay Abati. I'm sorry. It was Jay Abati. If I said that was wrong, I apologize. Yeah, that's exactly who it was. My bad.
He mentioned being arrested for a homicide and beating it.
I don't want. I'm going to tread lightly on it. I don't know. Can I get some direction on?
He said I beat.
Okay, but I just want to make sure I'm approaching correctly. You know,
I'll ask a very targeted question.
Okay.
He mentioned on Slat Talk, I beat a murder rap.
Yes, he did.
Paid my lawyer $30 for that.
He did mention that.
Okay. He also mentioned beating a homicide on another song, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you have, the fact is that Mr. Stillwell, he's on trial for that here today. At the time he wrote those lyrics, he had never beaten a homicide.
That's a real slippery slope to explain that. I don't want to say something. If I can get some.
He had never been cleared or went to trial and was found not guilty of a homicide.
Yes.
Yes. So Mr. Chart asked you a very specific question and you seem to have answered in a way that surprises everybody. So we need to get some clarity from you. Okay, so can you listen really carefully to what his question is and answer that question? And then if your answer is still the same, we need to ask some follow-up of you. I mean, okay, go ahead.
In the songs that we reviewed, Mr. Stillwell claimed to have beat a homicide, correct? Or
Correct.
beat a murder rap, beat a homicide.
Correct.
Okay. Did he in fact beat a murder rap or beat a homicide, as he claimed?
I think he.
Go ahead and explain it now because the jury's not in here.
Yeah,
We're just
here.
trying to sort out what
I
it
think
is.
from my understanding of Mr. Stillwell back in that time, he was under the impression that the Donovan Thomas case had been, that they were going to beat it, like they were about to beat it or was beat, or there wasn't going to be an issue. I didn't want to say that because I didn't
Well,
know.
that's good that you didn't say
Yes.
that, but that's not the question that he asked
I'm
at
not
the
asking
time.
what Mr. Stillwell thought. I'm
Okay,
asking-
yeah, then no.
And listen
Okay.
very carefully to what he actually, I mean, that's not what he asked a minute ago, but you don't have like knowledge that nobody else has that he was tried for some
Oh,
other
no, no, no.
murder and got a hung jury or an acquittal.
No,
right?
Your Honor. I just wanted to
Okay,
make sure.
so if Mr. Chart asks you, has he ever beaten one, and by beaten, I mean, gotten an acquittal or however he phrases it, what would your answer be then?
No, I just didn't know the specific outcome of if it was.
Has he
dismissed
even
and
been tried for
No.
another murder?
He
Okay,
has
so
not been
don't
tried.
say, I don't know the specific outcome if he has never been tried for one other than the one he's on trial for right now, okay?
Yeah,
You understand?
I just thought, I didn't know if he meant it was dropped. That was all, Your Honor.
That's not what was asked.
But that's not what he just asked right here, Your Honor. And
I know that, I know that.
I think that's the clarity that needs to be had, because at the time, Mr. Stillwell was on bond for the murder. And so
That is not anywhere near what he asked. He asked, has he ever been tried for and acquitted of murder? Being given a bond before a trial ever occurs does not a yes answer for, has he ever been tried and acquitted?
right, but even the question he just asked right now was not that direct.
I know, that's because, I know, but just now what he asked, we're just trying to figure out what it is she might mean. And are you then going to ask?
I'll ask about the bond next.
Okay. So if he asked about bond, then you can answer whatever you know about whether he was released on bond.
I thought
okay?
respectful of his rights, Your Honor. That's all.
Okay. Is anybody need any more clarity on?
I definitely do, because I think on redirect,
Okay.
it becomes very relevant to ask the witness at the time he.
The judge told her what was up. The judge laid it down for her. I mean, the judge said, that is not what he asked. That was nowhere near what he asked. Are you stupid? Are you okay right here? Like, do we need to bring in a psychiatrist? Like, just let me know, because we will bring one in. We'll roll her in here and we'll let her like hook up all the wires. That is nowhere near anywhere about what he asked. Wow. I got to get it to Judge Page. She's growing some as the trial goes along. I wish you would have had him like a month or two ago, but she's getting there.
You wrote those songs. Is it based on everything that you know and speaking to him and other people that did he believe he beat the murder?
I would not let you ask that, because how on earth can she know what is in his head? I mean, you could ask it, but I would overrule it if objection were made.
I understand.
And you point that, if that is in evidence, then you point that out in closing argument.
I think we will put them in now. Okay.
Well, y'all have to make a decision, each of you, as to how you're going to present your case. Or, all right. Do we have clarity now?
I think I'm clear. Yes, I'm clear.
You're going to answer first a direct question about whether or not you've been tried or convicted. You're going to ask that direct question first, and then you're going to ask about the law. Okay.
And then, I mean, Mr. Abadi, you suggested that you might then introduce evidence that he said what were you saying?
Well, I think I have to find the call, but I think that creates the questions on redirect that then can be asked is, at the time that he wrote those songs, had he been on bond for a number of years? He makes all of that very relevant as it relates to like diving into why he said that in the lyrics of the song. But I think the whole point of this is a very slippery slope, because we begin to talk about things that I don't necessarily we all want to get into as it relates to objections and objection for mistrial, because all of these questions allow us to then ask on redirect the specifics as it relates to when he made the song and being released on bond, things of that nature. That you can argue as to the belief as to why he believed he beat the murder, because it had been 3, 4, however many years. So he had not.
But you can ask that had he been on bond 3, 4, however many years. What you cannot ask this witness is, so then do you think he believed he beat it? I mean, that is something that this witness can't testify to, that I know of. If you have some reason to believe you think she can testify to that. But I mean, if it's just, oh, I can put 2 and 2 together, he'd been out for 17 years on bond and not been, tried yet, then that's something that is not beyond the ken of any juror. And you can argue that in your closing, but you can't ask this witness that question, okay?
Yes.
Everybody clear now?
Yes.
Okay.
I like seeing Judge Page with some snark, with some attitude. Keep that going, Judge Page. Like, where was that a month ago, 2 months ago? Where was that when you first walked in? We needed that. Come on, Judge Page. Anyway, I forgot to show y'all something. Like, I bought these the other day because I was in my feels and I was like, oh my gosh, they're Rudolph pajamas. They are Rudolph pajamas. And they got feet. Like, I was like, yeah, I got to have these because of feelings. They're going to keep me warm this winter. Yeah. These court trials will get you in your feelings. I mean, you see these people fighting for their lives, and you get in your feelings. I'm telling you. I know y'all know. Y'all know. Right? Perfect for Christmas morning, perfect for Thanksgiving night. I'm telling you, you full on turkey or pizza or whatever. And you just like, you got to get warm. And, these court cases will get you all up in your feelings. But I know, you guys know, this is the law tube section of the YouTube verse. I know you guys know. I was there with Karen Reed last year, and I've been there with so many people, like I can't even, Johnny Depp, and it just goes on and on and on. But guys, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it so much. He will go live this evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to go live on my channel at 4 p.m. Eastern. If you want to come over there for some laughs, we have a good time. Miss Mandy Reacts. So I'll see you guys soon. Bye, everybody.
Hit that like for deal with Christian. Yo, for deal with Christian. Smash that bell for DWC. Yo, smash it. Just smash it. Hit that like for deal with Christian. For deal with Christian. Smash that bell for DWC. Yo, smash it. Just smash it. Hit that like for deal with Christian.